Hello everyone, how are you? I hope all of you are fine. Students, today I'm going to tell you a story about a pet dog and his master. Are you all excited? So, listen to the story carefully. The name of the story is Hachiko. It was a late December morning. Few people were making their way to the Shibuya train station through the icy wind. I was helping my grandmother to set up the newspaper stall for the day. As I was laying out colorful magazines on a stand outside the stall, a golden brown animal passed me. "It's a wolf!" I screamed and dashed behind the magazine stand. "No, Chang, he is just an Akita puppy," said Dr. Yuno, rushing down the pavement to calm me. "Konnichiwa, Dr. Yuno." Now, students, Konnichiwa is a Japanese greeting. "Konnichiwa, Dr. Yuno," greeted my grandmother as she stepped out of the newspaper stall. "How are you, Mrs. Daisuke?" said. He turned toward me and said, "Ri-chan, I hope you had a good holiday in your village. I am so sorry that Hachiko scared you. Come, meet him." Dr. Yuno smiled encouragingly. Dr. Yuno was a professor at the Tokyo Imperial University. He often bought magazines from us. My grandmother had known him for years. I realized he had got himself a pet dog when I was on my school holidays to my parents' house. "Good morning, Dr. Yuno," I said as I walked up to him slowly. I bent forward and carefully extended my fist to Hachiko in friendship. He licked it quickly and wagged his tail till his whole body shook. We laughed to see him so happy. "See you soon," said Dr. Yuno as he waved to three of us and entered the station. Hachiko looked on longingly towards the door for some time and then turned to walk home. In the evening, I returned to our stall to help my grandmother pack the unsold magazines and newspaper. I saw Hachiko waiting near a stall, looking eagerly at the door to the Shibuya station. I petted him. He ate the little piece of squid I gave him from my snacks box. As I knelt down to play with him, he wagged his tail and whimpered joyfully. As soon as Dr. Yuno walked out of the door, waving to Hachiko, he shook with joy to see the professor. As soon as Dr. Yuno stepped onto the pavement, he jumped up, placing his forepaws on the professor's thighs. Dr. Yuno hugged his pet eagerly as he nodded to me. He spoke loving words to Hachiko as they made their way home. Little did I know that I was going to see this lovely reunion every day for many, many months. Hachiko came every day to see off and receive Dr. Yuno. I had developed a great friendship with Hachiko. In fact, many regular passengers at the Shibuya stations were friends with Hachiko. They admired the dog's love for Dr. Yuno. But the evening of 21st May 1925, however, was different. Hachiko somehow was not interested in our usual game. When the time for Dr. Yuno return got closer, Hachiko stood up alertly, staring at the door. The doors of the station opened and shut many times, but Dr. Yuno did not walk out. I knelt down beside Hachiko, hugging him as we waited together. A light drizzle started as it began to get dark. Wei Chang, it's time to go home, said my grandmother, lowering the shutters of the newspaper stall. But grandmother, Dr. Yuno is not back from his work yet, I said worriedly as I let my arm sink into Hachiko's warm coat. He must be held up with some work, Wei Chang, said my grandmother as she shivered a little in the late evening breeze and rain. I could not let my grandmother walk alone the long distance to our house. As we walked home, we hoped Dr. Yuno would return soon. I thought of Hachiko's eager face often that night. Next day in the morning, I found Hachiko sitting where I had left him the previous night. Grandmother, looks like Hachiko hasn't gone home at all. I told my grandmother and ran ahead to hug Hachiko. He wagged his tail weakly. His coat was wet. His pleading eyes looked from me to the station door. My grandmother poured out some milk from her flask and offered it to Hachiko. He licked it gratefully.
Thank you, Mr. Daisuke,
said an elderly man as he walked up to us from where he had been waiting.
I am Mr. Kobayashi, Dr. Yuno's gardener. The professor has often spoken to me about you and your lovely granddaughter. I am sorry to say Dr. Yuno passed away suddenly at work yesterday.
I and my grandmother were shocked to hear this news.
I have been trying to take Hachiko home since midnight.
We helped Mr. Kobayashi to take Hachiko home. But in the evening, Hachiko was back again, his brown eyes intently fixed at the station entrance door. He licked my palm and accepted the squid, but he did not roll over or jump anymore. Through the rain or snow, Hachiko always waited at the pavement near our newspaper stall for Dr. Yuno. He waited every evening till the last train pulled out of the station. Then he would walk away slowly into the night. He waited this way till his last breath, almost for 10 years. At the busy Shibuya station, to this day, you can see the bronze statue of Hachiko eagerly waiting for Dr. Yuno. The place near the statue is a happy meeting point for families and friends, just as Hachiko would have liked. Students, I hope you all like the story. So, till then, bye bye, take care, stay home and stay safe.